I am Bindu. I hope now you are well aware of the water cycle and the important reliefs of the ocean. So, ocean floor is divided into 4 parts: continental shelf, continental slope, deep sea plains and oceanic trenches. Let us now see some more important things about the oceans. From the topic Hydrosphere, Class 9th Social Studies. Learning outcomes. You will be able to know about the salinity of the ocean, ocean temperature, ocean currents, ocean as a resource. Keywords: ocean currents, the large-scale movements of water in the oceans in a definite direction. Precipitation: rain, snow. Frictional gliding of winds. To change the wind's direction and slow it down. Cold currents: the current that originates in the high latitudes. And flows towards the equator is called a cold current. Warm currents: the current that originates near the equator and flows towards the poles is called a warm current. Isoline: lines or contours, the joint points of equal salinity in an aquatic system. Drift: be carried slowly by a current of air or water. Let us check the concept map. The salinity of the ocean. Have you ever wondered why the oceans are filled with salt water instead of fresh water? Where did the salt come from? And is it the same salt you find on your dining room table? Most of the salt in the oceans come from land. Over millions of years, rain, rivers and streams have washed over rocks containing the compound sodium chloride, NaCl and carried it into the sea. You know sodium chloride by its common name as salt. Some of the salt in the oceans comes from undersea volcanoes and hydrothermal vents. When water evaporates from the surface of the ocean, the salt is left behind. Over millions of years, the oceans have developed a noticeably salty water. Salinity is the term used to define the total content of dissolved salts in seawater. The average salinity of the oceans is 35 ppt or about 35 parts of salt in 1000 parts of water. All seawater contains large amounts of dissolved mineral matter. Of which sodium chloride or common salt alone constitutes 77.8 ppt. Do you know? River water contains 2% of sodium chloride. Factors affecting salinity on the surface layers of the ocean. Evaporation and precipitation. In coastal regions, by the fresh water flow from rivers, and in polar regions, by the process of freezing and thawing of ice. Winds by transferring water to other areas. The ocean currents. Do you know? The following water bodies are highest in salinity. Don John Pond, Antarctica, 440 ppt. Lake Redba, Senegal, 400 ppt. Lake Venda, Antarctica, 350 ppt. And the following water bodies are lowest in salinity. Baltic Sea, 10 ppt. Hudson Bay, 3 to 15 ppt. Isohaline, a line joining the points in the ocean having the same degree of salinity. Ocean temperature. When compared to land, the temperature in the oceans does not show much variation. But these little variations show great impact. For example, the activeness of south-west monsoon in India is affected by El Nino and La Nina. These are the effects caused by the changes in temperature in the Pacific Ocean. The ocean temperature is influenced by latitudes, winds, ocean currents, unequal distribution of land, and change of seasons. Normally, the temperature in the oceans varies from -2 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. Do you know? The highest temperature is recorded in inland seas. The temperature is the highest in the Red Sea, that is 38 degrees Celsius. Vertical distribution of temperature. As one goes deep inside the oceans, the temperature decreases. The fall in temperature is very steep for the first kilometer. After that, there is a steady decline up to a depth of 5 kilometers. Below that, the temperature is steady at about 2 degrees Celsius. Ocean currents. The ocean current is the general movement of a mass of water in a fairly defined direction over a great distance. The ocean currents are sometimes called ocean rivers. Ocean currents may be classified based on temperature as cold currents and warm currents. Generally, warm currents flow towards the poles. Cold currents flow towards the equator. Ocean currents are classified as stream and drift based on their speed. The ocean water current, which flows speedily, is called a stream, and that which flows slowly is called drift. Ocean currents are caused by the following factors: centrifugal force. The centrifugal force at the equator is greater than that at the poles because the great circles at the time of revolution coincide with the equator. The variation of these forces makes the equatorial water move towards the poles. Effects of winds. The stresses due to wind and the wind movement modify the direction of the currents. Due to the frictional gliding of winds, water is dragged along the wind direction. Thus, wind at the speed of 50 miles per hour will produce a current whose velocity would be 0.75 miles per hour. Precipitation. The equatorial areas receive the greatest rainfall. Hence, the sea level is higher. As a result, water moves north and south from the equator. Solar energy heating by solar energy causes the water to expand. That is why the ocean water is about 8 cm higher in level near the equator than in the middle latitudes. This causes a very slight gradient and water tends to flow down the slope. Ocean as a resource. Most life on earth is under the water. Human beings still have not finished identifying all the different forms of life in the oceans. Human beings have depended on oceans for their food and livelihood from ancient times. Oceans provided abundant food resources like fish and salt. We also use sand, gravel, etc. for our industries or housing. Humans extract minerals like chlorine, fluorine, and iodine from it. Ocean waves are used for generating power. The ocean floor is mined for oils. Oceans also provide us with gems and pearls. For centuries, we have created our civilization on its shores and traded with each other, traveling on them. Many large fish like whales have been disappearing. Oceans have also become a dumping ground for plastic and other forms of toxic wastes. So, we must use natural resources wisely and protect them for future use. Do you know? Access to pure water in the form of ice and snow are 69.56%. Underground water is 30.10%. Rivers, lakes and reservoirs 0.34%.